Welcome to Carthagena Fishery. The lake behind me is the main syndicate lake. I've lived on site now for about 12 years, and in the early days I fished here a real lot, obviously like anyone would, and I caught quite a few of the fish that I was after and was really pleased with that, but I tended to sort of leave the place alone for a while because I had other targets on other waters, and I didn't really want to sort of catch all these wonderful carp really quick, and sort of, if I'm living here, what am I going to catch? So that's one of the reasons why I sort of went in pursuit of other fish, other targets, and kind of left this place till like later. But the fish in here are very old. They're sort of 35 to 40 years old, proper old, wily old carp. And there's some real nice ones that I really did want to catch. And I started to get a bit worried that because they're getting so old, I don't want them slipping away before I catch them. And this year, I mean, I started the year on, well, I'd done the winter and early spring on Frimley, and then through work commitments, ended up finding myself on my own lake and actually really started to enjoy it. It was nice. I'm right on my doorstep. My dog George could fish for me and do overnights, which he loves. And I found myself really settling into it and really enjoying myself. And there's a few fish that I really still wanted to catch from here. One of them being a real beautiful old leather. There's like various commons that I still haven't caught, and we've also got around about 18 to 20 young fish that's been in here for quite a few years now, and they're approaching the 30-pound mark. So they're basically still fish for the future for me to try and angle for, which I'm really pleased about. Anyway, as the year progressed, spring was soon turning into summer, and I was lucky enough to, I got a couple of fish under my belt. This is no way an easy water. This is probably one of the toughest waters I'd fished on. Bearing in mind, there's quite a good head of fish in here, and they still don't get caught. And anyone that fishes Carthagena will tell you how hard it is. But I managed to get a lovely 33 off the top, a fish called Neptune, absolute stunner. The weed was coming up thick and fast, and it was making angling more and more tricky. But the fish just loved it, and they were sitting in the weed, and the obvious way of approaching it was to catch them off the top. So I ended up catching that Neptune. And then I was fortunate enough a while later to catch one of the young stockfish that was coming through at 27. Absolute peach of a fish, and I'm really pleased. It already looks like it's lived here for 100 years. It's so old looking, where it's kind of settled into its environment and gone nice and dark. And I'm pleased to the fact that all the rest of the stockies have been coming out sort of good weights as well, and some of them have done 30 pound, which is fantastic for the future. So with them two fish out of the way, I started realising I was really settling in here and enjoying myself. So, like, because of work commitments, I couldn't really get onto other waters, so this was the obvious place. Anyway, just before they spawned, I was like absolutely made up to catch the leather, one that I've been after for a long time, a top weight, just under 36 pound, an absolute warrior of an old carp, jet black, little round leathery tail, absolute stunner. So that was it. I was absolutely like made up for my spring. Anyway, we closed the lake here for 6 weeks when they spawned. So the lake was closed, and the weed got thicker. To be honest, it was becoming sort of like a bit too much, and I was wondering how I was going to cope the rest of the year. After they spawned, the fish just spent most of the time sitting in the weed. But what we found was the ones that were getting caught were just massive. They put so much weight on where they'd have been avoiding capture all year. And there was some really good fish coming out at good weights, like commons that are normally sort of low 30s, doing 36 after spawning and so on. So yet again, I find myself back on the bank here, trying to catch fish that I've not caught from here already. And just trying to think, fishing up in the top bay there in the shallows a couple of weeks back, I managed another one of the elusive fish that's been avoiding me all these years, a fish called single scale, an absolute another cracking carp, and another one that I hadn't caught before, one that I really wanted. So that was another one off the checklist, and I just thought, God, this is getting better as it goes. And to bring you more up to date, yesterday was the first day of autumn. As you can see, it looks very autumny now. We've got a lovely southwesterly wind blowing into this corner of the lake. It's perfect fishing conditions, and round about this time yesterday, I got up a tree and see that there was a single fish about not far off from this spot, and luckily enough the rod bent round and I was into yet again another Carthagena carp, and a good battle. It weeded me up for a while, and to be honest I thought I'd lost it, I ended up netting the whole ball of weed. The lead core was just sticking out of the weed and I honestly thought it wasn't on. I netted the whole lot up in one big bundle, started sorting through the weed, and I noticed a towel. And in amongst it was a common. And yet again, and luckily for me, another one that I've never caught before. Really good weight for the fish, 37.5. A fish called the Northern Common, another one that I'd never caught before. So that kind of brings us up to date as far as Carthagena is concerned. For the future now the autumn's here, I've got like a couple of 3 months net ahead of me where I'm going to get back on my target waters. I want to get back onto Frimley and do the winter over there and early spring. And I've got a lake in Chichester that I'm just dying to get down and have a go on. It's a long drive, but it's worth it. The fish in there are awesome. So hopefully happy times ahead.